and we are just going to sing this whole episode.
The whole episode.
Here you go.
Thank you so much.
One time we're definitely gonna do that because that would be a lot of fun, and I know you like to bust out in song. So it's a nice gloomy day in Philadelphia. It is not always sunny like people might think.
In our hearts,
I am
necessarily outside.
Say again?
In our hearts, but not necessarily outside.
Exactly. That's very true. So I am in phase 1B in Philadelphia, which if you didn't hear or if you don't know is I don't know what's actually in phase 1B, but I'm a teacher, which is why I'm in phase 1B. I guess it's the second part of the first phase. Why don't they just have phase 1 and then phase 2 is phase 1B? And then, you know what I mean? That's weird to me, but
it's the government and they have to make things difficult.
Right? Makes no sense. But
that's coming from a Democrat.
Yeah. So I am supposed to get the vaccine. I've signed up like 5 times now. And I was even gonna like do some fraud and like finagle my address to try and do one of the walk-ins, but then I felt so bad about it and I don't even know if it would work. But why I think the rollout has been actually overall really good, but why is it still so difficult for some things to happen? And I guess what I would ask you is, how would you improve it if you could improve it, if it was up to you?
Ooh, if it was up to me, those are good questions.
Yeah.
I think it's been mainly it's been difficult because, as with a lot of this is essentially kind of like an infrastructure issue, right? You know, and just because it involves logistics and having the entire country get vaccinated. And so you've got all the 50 states doing it their own way. And then even within those states, you know, you've got, depending on the way the state is set up, you've got all these different counties and they do stuff differently. And so I think why we've seen it running super smooth in some places and not so great in others is simply because we didn't set like very strict standards and parameters when we kind of set out to do this. And then with anything the government does, once momentum gets going, inertia kicks in, it's really, really hard to start tweaking it, like after you've kind of already let, you know, Pandora out of the box. So that's kind of like the most general explanation. PA is interesting because the Commonwealth is so wacky the way everything is set up. So, you know, people want to blame their state legislators or they want to blame their county commissioners. I mean, it's kind of mostly on the governor and, you know, the PA, you know, health department to get this rolled out, to make sure all the counties have all the doses they need and to make sure that it's being done as efficiently as possible. But that's not necessarily happening in PA. So that's kind of like what we're seeing there.
Yeah, I've heard of a lot of people going into different counties because it's so hard in theirs, but they've had a lot of easier time or better luck just going somewhere else. Walk in or even making an appointment.
Yeah, and then some counties are doing it, you know, better than others. I think you know, like you said, overall, I think it's going better now.
It's definitely going. It's going better than I anticipated it would have. I just feel like some of the things seem like they could be easy fixes. It's like the tech, I guess. Why isn't like a tech company donating their services to make like a website so that you can like kind of streamline everything? No, I've signed up 5 times. I don't know why I don't getting like called for an appointment. It'd be nice if I could like check for a status thing, but there's no way. Once you put the form in, there's no way to like check anything. So it's like things like that to me seem like not the hardest thing to implement. But yeah. I mean, I know like it's a huge process.
It's a huge process. Probably what I would have done, because I'm a Keynesian, you know, like I believe in the intersectionality of government and markets. I probably would have just sat down all of the top CEOs and CTOs and COOs of like kind of a lot of these companies that we know already are masters of logistics and distribution, and that have manpower, the tech, the knowledge, and then transportation's a big part of this as well. I would have gotten them all in a room and been like, your country needs you.
Yeah.
The tax system benefits you to almost an obscene degree. Our citizens, buy all your stuff and work in your factories and deliver all your products. And we all know in this room that they don't get compensated enough to do all that stuff. So here's what we're going to do. You guys are all going to work on a website that's going to be like perfect for everybody to get on. You guys over here have a lot of call centers. You're going to dedicate a certain amount of your resources to making sure that folks that don't have internet access and don't have the technology, the know-how, or have all the information they need. Your company over here or your industry over here specializes in education and dissemination of that information. So you're going to work with my Secretary of Health and Human Services and, my vaccine czar, and y'all are going to collaborate on that. And then on down the line, you have a lot of trucks. You've got a lot, you're a pharmacy benefit manager, Aetna and CVS Health Caremark. So you're going to help, make sure that the drugs are there, that there's sites. And by the way, every sports team, the citizens of your city basically own your stadium. They made it possible for that to be even created. So we're using it along with all your parking lots and everything. And we're going to create like giant, basically I would just be like, this is getting done.
All out effort.
All that effort. And you're not going to drag your feet, and you're going to put your best people to it. And it's going to cost time and money, and it's definitely going to disrupt all your businesses. But guess what? Your country needs you. And if any of you drag your feet or say no, I'm going to go use the biggest microphone in the goddamn world. And I'm going to tell everybody that when I asked for your help and said your country needs you, that you said no.
Right.
And especially if it was a guy like Biden, who's a Democrat, who said, how people say that Democrats don't work well with the business community? Well, guess what? I sat them all in a room and I had my smartest people lay out this collaborative plan where we would provide all the resources, tech, and knowledge that we have, but that we needed some of the stuff that they have in order to help make it happen. Otherwise, it would have been much messier and all that. And they said, no, thanks. Like, that's too expensive. We can't do that. And we're the country that when the president said we're going to the moon, 9 years later, we did it. And there had been concurrent administration. That guy got killed, and there had been multiple presidents since then, and they still made it happen. Are you saying that we can't roll this vaccine out in like the best way possible? It's unreal. Like, you can find a long lost friend from like high school or grade school, like on Facebook, but you're telling me that like people don't know where to go get a vaccine or whether they're like what person they are in line, the government is really good at managing crises and working collaboratively across multiple agencies. They are good at that, but dealing with the states, having the governors do all this stuff themselves, having it go from what Trump was doing to Biden, the current administration is working from a deficit. So, I just stick the smartest people in a room and kick them in the ass.
Yeah. Well, I think the only effort I really know that, or it seems like that I'd have a chance at, is the one that's at the convention center, which is by FEMA. So I really like that they initiated FEMA to do like mass clinics in certain places. I think that was pretty cool.
Yep.
So we'll see. I guess my other question would be, do you think I think overall, I want to preface it, I guess overall vaccines are great. They've saved billions and billions and billions of lives in general. So I don't really understand a lot of people's hate against vaccines. I do understand this one was like a little bit faster. But from what I've read, they did all of the same safety testing, and it passed all the same safety standards that any other would have passed. They just did it in a kind of a quicker fashion, but it doesn't mean that they like cut corners. They just went around the corner faster. And the way they would do that is they spent more money, and like that's the one drawback. But obviously, it's not a drawback here. It's worth the money. What I've read that they did though is they would do a test, and before they got the results, they would run the secondary test 2 different times or 3 different times, not knowing which one was actually going to be useful. And then once they got the result of the first, they'd know, okay, trial 2 is the one we actually need. So they wasted money on trial 1 and 3 by starting it off. And they'd like keep on doing it. So they just started at like things like that is how they got faster. But at the same time, there obviously is some, or it seems, I don't want to say obviously, because like who knows with media, who knows like what's being exaggerated or magnified or not. But seemingly from the media, there's definitely a difference. Like AstraZeneca vaccine is in Europe. They're trying to get it over here. But it seems like there's been like some issues in Europe with it. And there was also an issue with like the testing of it. It wasn't tested legitimately. Like some of the testing didn't include some longer history stuff. So, and then also there are actually some factual differences of like, you only need the J&J shot once. The effective rates are similar, but they are a little different. Do you think someone has a right to kind of like want a certain vaccine, or do you think it should be just like get what you can get because like that's the best we can do?
I think a person does have a right to choose, but their expectation to get the vaccine that of their choice exactly when they're next in line is unrealistic.
Right.
I think that's an unreasonable expectation for an individual at this point.
Yeah. Well, you obviously will take anyone did you get it already? If you don't want to
No, I'm in line.
I better be
even though I'm technically a part-time caregiver, I'm keeping my place in line. I'm signed up and just waiting, So, but I think, I didn't put anything down when I was looking seriously at the questions they were asking. I couldn't like honestly justify me having any kind of that there should be any kind of special dispensation for me,
Right.
So
they had for one in category 1B, it was actually smokers were included, which like I feel like anyone could say they're a smoker. I don't know how they could even prove that.
Sure.
I don't know if you want to lie of getting the vaccine, but I'm just saying it's easy to do it. Not for you.
Yeah. And that's an individual choice. And I'm sure there's some people out there, I took the question in the spirit that it was asked and said, technically no. If it had been asked at another point in my life, I would have honestly have to say yes. But I haven't been able to like, in actuality call myself a smoker for some time now. So
yeah, I'm just saying people could have lied about it.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying it's not, but I'm just saying it's an easy thing to lie about, which I think is
it is very
to include that in 1B. I thought was interesting because anyone could kind of just say they are.
It was interesting, and I haven't engaged with like a medical professional about like kind of what the thinking is behind that.
Supposedly cannabis is actually good like in I don't want to say treating COVID, but good at like repressing it, I guess, or like fighting against it in some ways. CBD or THC, one or the other or both.
would be interested to hear from somebody on like how you ingest cannabis, whether that like could whether you could call yourself a smoker, because if you're rolling it in a joint, I have heard from medical professionals that the paper, you know, the burning of anything, even if it's something like pot, is not technically good for you,
Right.
for your lungs or your
But if
throat.
you vaporize,
But if you vape or yeah, exactly, like pens, volcanoes, you know.
volcanoes. Only OGs know about volcanoes.
Edibles. So yeah, so that would make a difference. But yeah, it's the whole thing has been interesting. You know, I don't understand it so much, but it's like I got a link sent to me the other day that supposedly if I had gotten to it in time, I would have like gotten a slot that like was gonna pop up on the 9th. You know what I mean?
I've heard that, because like they get like low on doses and they run out of people or something, so they just
shotgun. Yeah, they do like shotgun stuff, and I would have gotten like an appointment only on the 9th. And you know, I'm like working, and so I kind of was like a little pissed at the end of the day because I had it and I started filling it out, but it's a work day. I think it was like Monday morning or something that I got it, the link sent to me. And you know, at the end of my work day, I kind of circled back and clicked on the link. Of course, there's no like slots, you know, they're all gone. But I was just like, doing the math. I was like, damn, dude, first of all, like that's super arbitrary. That's really frustrating. You know, like I work a traditional work week. Well, actually, in some ways it's non-traditional because I'm like working past 9 to 5 and the weekends too. So it's like, damn, like there's just pop-up links that I'm supposed to just drop everything I'm doing like in the middle of a work morning and sign up. And I was like doing the math too, and I was like, damn, if I'd gotten on the 9th, that means like 21 days later, like I would have gotten my second at the end of April, and then I would have been at full immunity by Stevie's birthday. I was like,
you'll be there soon enough. It'll happen.
I know. It'll be fine.
We're both getting called like tomorrow. That's what
it'll be fine. It's not even it's science can't even explain what even like happened to me and when I was exposed to it. So like I don't even know if I should be being studied or something, because like I marinated in COVID around Thanksgiving, dude. Like I took a bath in that.
Well, it could have just not affected you, you know?
It might not have affected me. I could have had a negative test.
Yeah. A lot of possibilities.
My feeling of fatigue and stuff might have just been because I was depressed and angry around that time, you know, like I might have been psychosomatic, my symptoms, because I wasn't like sick. I can't like say, oh, I got sick, so I definitely had it.
It's been so weird. Like the symptoms everyone's had. Some people have symptoms for like a whole year. Like they literally haven't gotten rid of it. I've heard some people's symptoms when they get the vaccine, the symptoms go away. The long haulers get the vaccine and their symptoms go away after. So vaccine definitely sounds promising. I heard too, this is going to be my closing thought, something for you to think about. The person who invented this vaccine, the mRNA vaccine for COVID, said basically cancer is possible to get a vaccine for through this technology, and it should be coming in the coming decade. Pretty wild.
That's freaking cool.
Yeah, sign me up. All the people who don't want to get world domination because of vaccines or think it causes autism, even though it doesn't, feel free to not get the cancer vaccine, but I will be first in line for that.
Yeah, I feel real bad for some of those, you know, I'm like, I always, whenever I see a conspiracy theorist who's absolutely certain about that stuff, I just want to turn and be like, who hurt you? Like who?
I won't discount some stuff. I won't discount. You gotta be open, but some people
question everything.
The worst one is flat earth. That's one you can't even be open to.
No.
I can't.
And like even people back in the day, like flat earth was never a thing. Like the people that are like, Columbus thought he was gonna no, he didn't. Everyone knew that the earth was round back then. All you have to do is stand and see that the horizon curves and disappears.
Yeah, no, flat earth. I've seen people
like that's all you
explain how ships go around the world. they basically like zigzag in circles, like in the middle of the sea before going back. They're like, what are you talking
Drive to Kansas where there's no mountains, no trees to block your vision, and just look at the horizon.
Yeah.
Case dismissed.
There's math to back. There's a million things. It makes no sense, but there's people who believe it. Pat, I had a great time talking to you. Love you as always. Give kisses to Brownie and Stevie for me.
You know it.
I will see you next week.
Give kisses to your crazy animals as well, and add if you see him.
Oh, he was included in the crazy animals, I thought. All right, see you later.